So we're here with Ashley Callingbull at the Campro Expo 2019. And yeah, I'm just really happy. I'm really happy to meet you and really excited that, you use your platform for political awareness, specifically for, I would say, Indigenous, like self-determination. That's one of the big things that I notice as a theme. So the first thing I wanted to ask you is, what made you use your platform in the pageant world, which many consider kind of like toxic, because they promote these beauty standards that are like unattainable. How did you kind of flip that?
Well, I actually never wanted to do pageants to begin with, but I found out that through my friend who's competed before. She said it would be a great way to use the pageant system instead of like using it for self-gain, use it to help others, because the winners, they win prizes, they win money, they win all these things. And I'm like, well, I do a lot of work for different charities. I'm like, this is a great way to raise awareness, use my voice, and then if I place or I win, all the money will go back to my charity. So I'm doing it for something bigger than myself. And then for it to give me, I guess, that opportunity and that voice and more mainstream so people can actually see me. And I guess it was a very shocking moment for me to just call out the Prime Minister, call out the injustices that First Nations people deal with. And it was just not a typical thing for a beauty queen to do.
That's what I thought. And like, how do you stay confident like within that space? Because someone like myself and lots of people that look like me, we don't fit into that space at all, and we're still getting messages like every single day of what beauty is supposed to look like, specifically like within the within popular culture in Canada. So how do you stay confident in that space?
Well, I think if I wake up and I feel happy with myself, that's all that really matters, because there's these standards that they even set for pageants. You have to look like this, look like this. When I was competing, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to be the best version of myself, what I think is beautiful. And I'm like, you either like it or you don't, because I'm never going to change or conform to society standards and be a different version of myself, because that's not me. So when I compete in these pageants, I'm 100% authentically myself. And regardless of what people say, I'm like, no, if I'm happy at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. And confidence really is key, because it's an extremely difficult process to be a part of, because it can be really competitive. People can be catty. There's all different aspects to it. But I know that I'm there for the right reasons, and I know I'm there for other people. So that's what makes me feel even stronger, because I know I have how many people I'm representing behind me.
Do you think that the industry is changing at all? Like, do you think it's still very like blonde and like blue eyes is like the idea of like beauty?
What's crazy? After I won, I noticed there was a shift in how pageantry has been done, because I used my voice to be so political, and that's something that we're told not to be. And I'm just always going to be myself. And then I noticed more girls wanted to do it for charity. More girls wanted to, showcase things that other people don't see. Or you see girls that are competing now that aren't, the typical tall, beautiful girl. You see girls from all different walks of life, girls with all different types of body types. And, it's extremely more inclusive now. I noticed that the pageant world has definitely changed, but yes, there's definitely some aspects to it that need to be left behind because they're so archaic. But I can see that it's definitely being a way for it to be a movement for women, a way for them to be able to work together for different causes. And I know now it's more genuine, which is nice. It's good that it's finally changing, but there's definitely still some more archaic things that need to go.
For sure. And in terms of representation, I feel like that's still something that that our society is working on. Or I feel like representation, if there's no representation at all, it's almost like we're almost like invisible and then we don't exist. So how do you approach like trying to advocate for more representation, and what advice do you have for women like us, women of color, who really want to make an impact?
Well, for me personally, I don't see really any Indigenous representation
at all
anywhere. And it's hard. It's almost like we don't exist, or we don't fit what their norm is, especially me with acting. There's no roles. Me with pageants, I was the only one. But the thing about that is, for me, I feel like I'm opening the door for other people who want to follow in that direction, or who want to be, chase these dreams regardless of what we look like. But now I can see times are changing and definitely more diverse, which is nice to see. But we need to definitely be more vocal and be like at the table for conversation. You know what I mean? I think that it's not just, we can't rely on other people to get us there, we also have to use our voice too.
For sure. And do you think that social media has played a role in doing that?
I think social media can be either really positive or really negative, but for movements, it can be extremely positive for getting things out there, because that's how we all stay connected now. Technology is everywhere. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. So you put something out there and you create this momentum, and then it keeps going, and you have no idea where it will end up. So yeah, you can use it in an extremely powerful way to create some really good change.
For sure. And I was reading a Chatelaine article that you were in where Justin Trudeau called you on the phone.
Yeah.
And you were having this conversation. I know that you're a big advocate and I would say an activist as well. And you were talking about murdered and missing Indigenous women. Do you think there's been any progress on that?
No. I you know, it's sad. Like, I could see that there's progress within our own communities, us trying to solve our own problems and trying to make sure our women are safe by having things like the Bear Clan Patrol, which is in Winnipeg, to keep our women safe. And it's hard because they say they want an inquiry, but there's nothing really being done. It's just constantly waiting. And the one thing I don't understand is that there could be, for example, 2 fugitives that have murdered a couple and have gone across Canada, teenagers.
Yeah.
They send the army for these people. But for our women who are constantly murdered, and it links up to all these different serial killers, why aren't they chasing them down? Why aren't our lives worthy enough? You know what I mean? So for us, it's just a constant battle against a system that was built against us. So for us, it's like we have to solve our own problems within our communities first. And we always have to just be brought to that table.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can't rely on the government forever because they weren't created for you.
For sure.
For us.
Yeah.
So it's just a constant battle of being able to like stand up and fight for what's right. And that's what it is. It's a constant battle of fighting for our lives.
I totally agree with you. And what do you what can non-Indigenous people do to be like advocates, but not be the people who actually are the ones on television talking about it? But what can we do to support?
You know, it's great to have more allies and people that actually understand. For me, I love to educate with kindness. There's a lot of really ignorant people, regardless of what country you're in, but it's good to educate them on like what's actually going on. Today, I met a lot of people that had no idea what Indigenous people were going through, and that shocked me because, you know, we're the first people of this country and no one knows what Canada really is like, but it could be better. But the fact that people are going to get educated and actually want to talk to us and take the time to understand where Canada started, where it's going, where it still is, that's the whole important thing, is about being an ally to us. You don't have to go out there and protest for us, but you can be there for us and also educate other people, because that's the thing that we're lacking, is that we're lacking, I guess, that word of mouth of what the truth really is. Not many people want to talk about it because it's so harsh, it's so controversial, but people need to know the truth.
I totally agree with you. And today you talked about, you compared the current social services programs almost to, new residential schools.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I'm aware, but that was something I was unaware of.
So a lot of the kids I work with are in care, and the way that the system is run is that it's against us. It basically strips our kids away from their culture again, and you're put with someone who's going to abuse you. They don't do very good checks into where they're going. And a lot of people, even my mother, when I was born, they came up to my mom and wanted to take me away, child services. They only explained because, oh, well, you're a single mother. That's exactly what it's like. They can come and just take your children. And that's why people are referring it to as residential schools, because once you leave, your culture's stripped away, you're being abused again, you're losing who you are. And they're just taking you without, I guess, the proper way you're supposed to go about it. And it's scary, and it's being allowed, but no one's talking about it. Yeah. No one's reporting on it. The media doesn't report on it. And it's really disheartening to see that like our people are still dealing with that. And it's basically they're dealing with intergenerational trauma, and then they're also basically dealing like what our grandparents dealt with in the past. We don't deserve that. It's
neo-colonialism. And with this like intergenerational trauma that you just spoke about, how do you stay positive with all that you've been through and all that you continue to go through as a people. And you talked a lot about positive thinking. Like, how do you actually, like, what is your strategy on positive thinking?
You know, every day I battle something, or there's always some kind of obstacle for me because, you know, it's hard being an Indigenous woman in general. It's hard being a woman. There's always people telling me that I don't belong. And for me, because of everything I dealt with, I'm like, you know, I can deal with anything. I can survive anything. And I'm like, I'm happy. I'm alive. I'm extremely thankful for life. And I'm extremely thankful for what I can do with my life. And I just want to encourage people that they can do the same, regardless of the situation and really come from what they've dealt with. And the positivity thing is something I have to carry with me, because if I don't, I can get stuck back in that negative cycle of, you know, what happened to me, you know, this and that, and feel sorry for myself. And that's the last thing I want to do, is to go back to that dark place. I always want to keep moving forward and thinking, like, what more can I do for other people? What more can I, you know, do for myself? What kind of mark can I leave in this world? So, you know, I have younger sisters, and that's what I think about all the time, is thinking, you know, what kind of good light am I leaving behind for them? And that's why I'm always positive, because I notice as positive as I am, it rubs off on people, and you feel it. You feel people's energy.
For
and you
sure.
don't know where that's going to go.
I felt that way today too. I'm not usually like a very emotional person, but there are certain things you said today that really like hit me, and I still battle it myself, you know, trying to get back into like a, you know, you could get stuck in like negative thinking, but I also would, after listening to today, I also observed that you were saying a lot about positive affirmations that you use like daily. You said some quotes, so you use, like, is that like positive affirmations a big part of it as well?
Yeah, for sure. Just like the one quote that I've been saying to myself since I was a little girl: love and live fearlessly. You know, love and appreciate my self-worth, because I didn't when I was growing up. When I was abused, I didn't think highly of myself at all. So, and then living fearlessly, like, I lived in fear my whole life. I lived in fear of, like, the unknown, fear that I wouldn't make it to the next day. It was scary. And the fact now that I love who I am, I was made the way I am for a reason, and I don't let fear stop me from going after anything, you know, because if I have that mindset, I won't be able to go anywhere. Now I have the mindset of, why not? Why can't I?
Yeah.
What's stopping me? It's just me.
Yeah. And I think that when you have that, you become unstoppable. But I think for you, obviously, it's been a process. And for everybody, I think it's going to be like that. It's a process.
It's definitely a healing journey. But, you know, I've learned a lot about myself, and I've changed a lot. I feel extremely confident, powerful. I feel like I can just live through anything.
I love that. And the last question is, in terms of like your own like personal like wellness, how do you take care of yourself, and what does self-care mean to you?
For me, because of my culture, we're taught to stay away from drugs and alcohol. I go to ceremonies and sweat every week. I make sure that I'm in tune with who I am. And that's what keeps me really grounded. It makes me feel like I'm always home, regardless of where I am, because I have my culture with me. And health-wise, I make sure to always drink tons of water and always stay active every week. You know, the lifestyle that I have, I'm always traveling. I'm always tired, but I always make sure to get enough sleep and at least do something active to feel good, because once I start feeling good, I'm like, oh, what can I do now?
Active,
you know what I mean?
like water. Do you have a special like skincare routine? Because your skin is like phenomenal.
You know, a lot of people say that. I literally just got my first facial not even a month ago. So for me, I make sure to drink tons of water every night. When I take my makeup off, I just use makeup wipes, but I just started using this new cleanser. Now my skin is like even more clear. It's from XO Treatment Room. It's in Calgary. And it's just a surface cleanser. And every time I put it on my skin, it makes me feel like I have baby skin. You know, it's so soft and cleansing. I don't put anything too harsh on my skin. And when I'm not working, I don't wear makeup. I just keep it cash.
I saw that. I saw on your Instagram that your tomboyish style.
Yeah, that's like my actual style.
That's who you really are.
I buy like men's pants, men's hoodies. Everything fits me better too, because I'm long and kind of like straight body type, like athletic. So like everything fits me well. I wear all my boyfriend's clothes. He doesn't get things back, annoys him. But Whatever.
So thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. So on the last note, do you have any words of like inspiration for other women that are women of color that are kind of coming up, that that need that extra kind of push and encouragement to keep going?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think coming from, where I've come from, I didn't come from much, but we deserve to be wherever we want to be.
Yes.
Wherever our heart wants to go, we deserve to be there. And we should never have any self-doubt in ourselves, because that passion and that fire is in you. And you have no idea what you're made of yet until you finally get out of your comfort zone. You push yourself. And once you succeed at one thing, you'll be limitless and you'll be fierce as hell.
Amazing. Thank you